I was staking out our location, more so its inhabitants. Unremarkable, simple minded, spending their time on frivolous pursuits as there's so many in need of my help. I've reached my conclusion with them. Similarly to myself, my time was spent wisely. I had owned this book for quite some time. There's a reason for that. It's a part of my vampiric half. 'Tis a shame that so far I've had nothing. Perhaps it could change with time. The kind lady sat down in front of me. A Garu's arm wrestle had piqued her interest. So much so, she used her powers to unsuccessfully sway the outcome. For fun. It is strange to me how they have no qualms or greater expectations of themselves. And again, why should they? They are subjects, not equals. She started asking me questions about myself, like music. From one question, I'm given millions of answers, all correct, all contradictory, all overwhelming. She noticed my condition flaring up and wisely shifted matters onto my mask. I was jubilant to find someone who's avid at the sight of it. Yet I couldn't help but think of my being here, how it went against my will, how hopeless and weak I was against it. Her sympathy was surprising to me. I feared she'd start to beseech me with woes of hunters. Yet she understood me. She spoke of Canada and her failure to reach it. Then she offered me a cheese stick. I've never tasted such processed food beforehand, primarily due to my hobby and the gift of life, making fresh, unprocessed, and raw food free and fast. I consumed it. It was decent. It transpires that it held a connection to her childhood that she wished to hold on to. I envy it, for I have naught but the promise of connection. She told me her name and reached her hand out. Sienna T. Hart. I pray her name never be lost upon me, for the light it brings into my heart helps raise a smile long still. I formally introduced myself and assured her of my duty and the safety it'll bring her. She was stunned, but not displeased, albeit for my name, the Corpse King. In fact, she desires to be my friend. I would have had friends had my condition not taken them from me, like the rest of my life. I hadn't much opportunity for friendship. Most fear the face. Others, my actions. She lacked the understanding of my psyche. She assumed that I would have a normal name like hers. I had to inform her of the relevant parts of my psyche. Ones she could understand. Ones that won't make me lose her. I spoke of my overabundance of memories and how it varies from day to day. She held my hand and dubbed me Mask. Sienna became entranced by my eyes. I haven't a clue to her thoughts. I could have looked, but a part of me can appreciate the mystique. I tried to reach her the best way I know. I love them, especially when they're blue, like mine. She supports my duty, even finds it noble. Yet her heart saddens by her mother's abduction. So much so she sheds a tear. I try my best to comfort her despite my inexperience. Another casualty of the fall, of the path to my kingdom. Merely a child, yet trialed as guilty, when it ought to be the chains of salvation. My kingdom shall be cleansed of this filth by my hand, for those who've paid the price, starting with Sienna. She shifted to speak of Christmas Eve. I never celebrated, for the Dark Mother is where my allegiance lies. From birth, an idea sprang to her, a tradition of constructing a snowman and asking it for a wish. By the end of the next day, if it's gone, it had worked. She gave me gloves to wear despite my aptitude with life, making them irrelevant. They were soft. It was for the first time since that night that I done something purely for joy. We were smiling and giggling as we began to build it. With the head left, a little girl, Cassie, came to us. Sienna shifted the plans for the snowman to be Cassie's. We share the same pure heart. Funnily enough, she referred to a gathering as your date with the scary man. It evades me why, but I find it amusing. Regardless, it's best to show her there's nothing to fear. Unless you're impure. I find it fitting to give her a fresh bouquet of daisies, as that's a middle name. She was very gentle and precious, even open to the dark mother's teachings. She disclosed to me a sighting of sparkling lights, followed by a man in a red coat and black boots. Further research is required. In addition, she kissed my cheek and hugged me after I promised to tell Lilith of her good deeds. She began to weep. Another poor victim. I was lost. I shan't lie to her and say hollow words, but what truth could comfort her in this fallen world? I settled upon giving her a reason why. Something strong to center herself on in the chaos of orphanhood. There's something so familiar about it, as if I've lived her life. There was something so familiar about it, as if I've lived her life. She apologizes to me for weakness, for showing emotion. It's as if something automatic occurred in my mind. I can remember my father, then a fist, then laughter. Then I told her to never be ashamed of emotion. It is who we are. Let it be the one thing we don't hide. She returned to the other children to keep playing. We repeated the process. Sienna recounted that she was on the train that derailed, that it was an explosion that orphaned infants and hurt the innocent. Sienna instinctively took the infant in, despite her self-admitted lack of self-care. She lacks the understanding of why. I told her of our shared heart. She brought stones and twigs to make the snowman extra special for me. How heartfelt. I had to return the favor, so I created a white rose for the snowman. It was now finished. She let me make my wish first, so I did. I desired to be healed of my condition and to be me again, and not some amalgamation of what I think I am. This moment will always be special with me. Hence the documentation of every detail. I finally felt the rays of joy in my darkest hour, and for that I've thanked Sienna via a memento of the same rose. She loved it. So much so, she even kissed me on my cheek. Then I heard sleigh bells. I mistook them for a memory, or the voices, or the visions. Sienna heard them too. And Cassie saw it. I believe it is the red-coated man she spoke of prior to this. The snowmen are gone, replaced with presents. Unsure of its threat level, I proceeded with caution. The snowmen are gone, replaced with presents. Unsure of its threat level, I proceed with caution. Sienna opens hers first, and a poem with her family photo is inside. She's joyous to have a memento of her connection, as I am to have mine. I open my gift to show a poem. I should keep reading it to look for ciphers or any other answers. It is about my madness and how it's connected to my condition, most certainly originating from my vampiric half. I haven't been given naught but a path to walk upon. I now know what I must do. I am afraid of what I could do in that state. I concocted a cunning plan. The answers lie with Malakav. He speaks to us with his gifts. So I must find a cell capable of holding me and let go like I did on that night. Then I must have faith in Malkav to guide me to my mind, to my kingdom. She agrees to help my mission. I do the same for her. She pushes for further details, but she cannot understand me. It's something only someone who's been through it can understand. I lost my temper briefly. I didn't mean to direct it at her. The voices get louder and louder the more I think of my madness. It's deafening. Additionally, the simplest question overloads my mind and further clouds it. I can't answer the simplest questions, contrarily to complex and specific inquiries. Then I suddenly know everything, only for it to fade away from the noise. I haven't found a way of silencing it besides adrenaline. Sienna tells me that I should think of others being traced and hunted from my association. It's a new problem I once was able to circumvent. I pray it comes to me before it's too late. She asked of my opinion on the bartender. I spoke my mind remorselessly, and she agreed. Then she asked about gardening. I adore it down to my core. But it isn't sufficient for my madness. Even if I begin to grow drugs. We agreed to get each other gifts for next Christmas. Or, in my case, an unrelated day that happens to be Christmas that I don't celebrate.